So I live a life in constant pain, and maybe you do too. People don't really see it. It's difficult to see from the outside. It's something that I think people like you or me, we live with and suffer with nearly silently. In this video, I want to talk about 4 of the main ways that I mitigate the chronic pain that I live with daily. I won't go into my story, but when I was 20 years old, I fell snowboarding. I broke 5 vertebrae in my back, and T12 was a burst fracture that caused me to become what they call an incomplete paraplegic. You saw me walk in here, so my situation has changed since then, and I'm very grateful for it. But that doesn't change the fact that my lower back is an absolute time bomb. So these are the 4 things that I do to try to mitigate all of the pain that I go through daily. As a disclaimer, I'm not a doctor. I've just lived it myself, and I can sympathize with what you're going through right now. So without further ado, let's get into these 4 points. The first point that I love to make is that you need to take perspective of your situation. And I know it's very difficult to do. For me, it took years to be able to do this, but the amount of gratitude and positive feelings towards my life has shifted immensely from when I first started suffering with this. It takes absolute practice, it takes consistency. But when we look for the positive things in our lives and be gracious and have gratitude for our ability to just feel, that's where things really shifted for me. Personally, every single day when I wake up, even if I'm in immense pain, I'm so happy that I can feel. And that took 3 or 4 years to get to that point. But if you can look at your situation and realize that you're not alone, because when I was doing research for this video, a conservative estimate for how many people suffer with chronic pain in the US alone is 1 in 10 people. So extrapolate the numbers and realize, hey, there's a lot of people going through this. And I don't like to play the card of my situation's worse than yours, or your situation is worse than this person's. I feel like that's just not a productive argument to get into, or it doesn't help anybody. But to realize that there's other people going through exactly what you're going through, it changes things 100%. Tip number 2, we're going to go outside for this one because I filmed this like a week ago. It wasn't -30. I'm going to use the footage. Honestly, getting out and walking is one of the best things you can possibly do if you have chronic pain. Moving around. I know that some days we feel like not doing it. Oh man, you need to do it. And you do find cool places, like look at this. We're in Edmonton right now. Look at these graffitis. You just find cool stuff. So get out, walk a little bit more. That's what you want to do. There's people on a swing down there in this like tunnel. Ignore the hair differences, I got a haircut and all that, but here's the thing, is that you have 2 choices when living with chronic pain. You have a choice of being in pain because you're sedentary. Put a finger down for that. And you have a choice in life with chronic pain of being in pain for the activity that you're undergoing. I can tell you unequivocally, the pain that you get from being an active person is so much more manageable than the sedentary pain. The pain that you get from sitting on your couch all day, of lying in bed, of doing nothing, sitting around all day, I can tell you 1,000,000% that pain is so much worse because everything is seizing up. Everything is not being used. And as a human being, you're meant to move. You're meant to constantly be in movement and in activity. You're not meant to sit around. And it's difficult when you're suffering from pain because it's the last thing you want to do. I know. But it changes everything when you start moving as much as possible. And I know it's difficult right now, but simply getting up from your chair, walking around, doing some push-ups changes everything. Point number 3 is going to tie in to the activity thing. And that's simply that your nutrition needs to be on point. The days where I'm eating tons of sugar over the Christmas break or something like that are far worse for me than when I'm eating properly, when I'm drinking lots of water, when I'm eating vegetables, when I'm eating things that we should be eating and avoiding the things that we shouldn't. Inflammation is caused by sugar. You eat a ton of sugar, you have inflammation throughout your entire body. And for me, personally, that means my lower back seizes up. It means that my muscles feel not like muscles, they feel like elastics. It's terrible. It means that I don't have flexibility. It means that I can't even walk as well the next day as I did before when I consumed that load of sugar, for example. So your nutrition, your water intake, I know these things are so rudimentary and almost surface level. I feel that people just forget them all of the time when they're in these situations. So I want to remind you, those are the things that really matter, is your nutrition, your activity, and even your headspace from point 1. Point number 4, I'm going to be controversial here for a second, and I know this is a tough one for me, but I want you to avoid painkillers as much as possible, especially powerful painkillers. Reason being is because of the addictive properties that come from them, and for me, I was not myself when I was on the really tough painkillers, the ketamine, the fentanyl, the oxy. I was on it all. I was on Valium. I was on every single pain med you can possibly think of. And even then, a lot of the time, it didn't work. When you have nerve pain, there's really only a few things that help for that. And even for me, it was very difficult. I'm very, very, very thankful to say that today, if I need to mitigate pain, I take an Advil or something like that. Again, I'm not a doctor, consult your doctor, but I want you to avoid it as much as possible because, at least for me, I wasn't a functioning human being when I was on those medications. I wasn't able to think. I wasn't able to produce. I wasn't able to be creative. I wasn't able to even have coherent conversations with the people that I loved. And if you can avoid those pain medications, you're going to be so much better off. If you're currently on them, try to wean yourself off of them as much as possible. Obviously, don't take yourself off of them cold turkey. You're going to be in a much worse situation. Consult your doctor, figure out a plan that you can get off of those and into more, let's call them less powerful pain medications. Those are the 4 tips that I have for you today. And those are the things that I've experienced in my life with chronic pain. If you like, comment below how you live in a state of constant pain. How do you mitigate it? What do you do on a daily basis to make sure that you can live a happy, functioning life? And tell me about it. Please subscribe to my channel. hit the notification bell. And there's going to be more of these, because I think that, especially in the current situation that we're in, mental health, physical health, they're all going to be massive, massive topics over the next 5 to 10 years. We haven't even seen the beginning. So, as always, I'm Josh. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.